Court is going to set his bond at $500,000.
Zachary Cruz leaves the Broward jail after 10 days of incarceration. He was caught skateboarding at Marjory Stoneman Douglas High School.
We're hearing from the younger brother of accused shooter Nikolas, Cruz. 18-year-old Zachary posted this video showing him skateboarding along with this. Appreciate all the positive messages.
Zachary would first and foremost like to apologize to anyone who felt scared or threatened by his presence on the Marjory Stoneman Douglas campus last week. He never ever meant to scare anyone.
Without saying a word, Zachary Cruz leaves the Broward jail after 10 days of incarceration. He was held on a $500,000 bond for a trespass charge. He was caught skateboarding at Marjory Stoneman Douglas High School.
Zachary Cruz, arrested for trespassing at Marjory Stoneman Douglas High, is also now prohibited from possessing any guns for the next 12 months, one of the first in Florida under the state's new red flag law.
Court is going to set his bond at $500,000.
The Broward Sheriff's Office listed the following reasons Cruz should be prohibited from having weapons. When he was 16, Coral Springs police arrested him for skateboarding on top of a marked police car. Police say Cruz was so disrespectful to them, they decided to charge him with criminal mischief. A month later, they arrested him again for stealing an Xbox and controllers from Target. This time, police again noted that his attitude was unconcerned. They also listed several instances where his mother called 911 to deal with him and mentioned that he has a history of mental health issues.
So that law enforcement and family members have a tool that they can use to go to court, convince a judge that this person is dangerous, and take away their guns before they can take away anyone's lives.
A judge set Zachary Cruz's bond at $500,000, despite the misdemeanor crime.
The state's request is entirely disproportionate to the crime with which Mr. Cruz has been accused at this point of committing. This is the standard bond of this is $25. Mr. Cruz, according to the Sheriff.org website, posted that bond. He should have already been released.
These extreme risk protection orders are, in my view, one of the most effective things that states can do to address it.
Zachary Cruz was Baker acted by Palm Beach County deputies and later confessed to bullying Nikolas when they were younger.
Well, we also found Zachary Cruz had almost twice as many run-ins with law enforcement than his brother Nikolas, in a pattern of blatantly disregarding any and all authority figures.
Contact 5 investigators found in the last 7 years, Zachary Cruz has had more than 40 run-ins with Broward and Palm Beach County law enforcement for things like running away from home, hitting his mom with a baseball bat, and refusing to go to school.
If they do find any in Zachary Cruz's house, they can now legally keep them for 12 months.
Court is going to set his bond at $500,000.
Zachary Cruz leaves the Broward jail after 10 days of incarceration. He was caught skateboarding at Marjory Stoneman Douglas High School.
Okay, sir, you are charged with trespass school grounds. Any objection to probable cause?
Judge, we reviewed the probable cause affidavit. We don't have an objection to probable cause.
Okay, so the court does find probable cause. State?
Judge, Sarah Nell Murphy on behalf of the state. The state is putting forth an argument today, Judge, that there is probable cause not only under 810-097 for trespass on school grounds, but also within the same context of the body of the probable cause affidavit for trespass after warning under 810-09, the former being a second-degree misdemeanor and the latter raising this to a first-degree misdemeanor. We're asking that the court evaluate the proper bond criteria pursuant to 903-046, which, as the court knows, the first prong is to ensure appearance, and the second, and most important, is to protect the community. He admitted this was not the first time he had been present on the school campus, but rather the third. In Broward County as a juvenile, in the year of 2016, he pled to 3 crimes, one of grand theft, one of criminal mischief, and one of petty theft. We know that he was Baker acted following the shooting. The nature and probability of the danger that his release poses and the nature and probability of intimidation and danger to these victims was demonstrated today. The state is asking for a bond of $750,000 in this matter. We are asking that he be set on house arrest with a GPS monitor. He is to have no return to Broward County unless he is returning for a court date. He is not to return or be present on any school campus. We would ask that this court order that the home where he resides in Lake Worth be searched prior to his return to it for any guns, weapons, or ammunition of any kind. He is obviously not permitted to possess any gun, weapon, or ammunition in the pendency of this matter. He is to submit to a psychological evaluation and any follow-up that is deemed necessary to ensure the safety of the public.
Okay, defense?
Good afternoon again,
Good afternoon.
Your Honor. Judge, the state's request is entirely disproportionate to the crime with which Mr. Cruz has been accused at this point of committing. This is the standard bond of this is $25. Mr. Cruz, according to the Sheriff.org website, posted that bond. He should have already been released. He is being held because of who he is related to, not because of anything that he did. All of the requests that the state just made are trying to punish Mr. Cruz for who he's related to, not for skateboarding through the school grounds. Now, for the state to request a $750,000 bond with all of the conditions that they are requesting is simply a reflection of their punishment for who he's related to. We would ask that the court maintain that $25 bond. He's already posted it. He does not have any there were no adult misdemeanors even or felonies that the state listed off. To say somehow that Mr. Cruz is a danger to the community based on nothing other than what's in this probable cause affidavit is simply a fallacy. There's no indication of violence from Mr. Cruz. There's just nothing, and the state is seeking to make a show of this. And we would ask the court. There was a $25 bond posted. That's what it would be for any other person. That's what it should be for Mr. Cruz.
Okay, anything else?
No, Your Honor.
Okay, this is what the court's going to do. Court finds based on the totality of the circumstances, the court is going to put an ankle monitor on him, GPS level 1. Court notes that he is the brother of the alleged shooter at this school. He is not a student at any Broward County school, in particular Marjory Stoneman Douglas. He resides in Palm Beach County. He has no legitimate business at the school, and he came onto this campus after being warned. Therefore, for the safety of the students and the community, and the court has concern that we just had a major tragedy, the court is also going to order that he maintain 1 mile from Marjory Stoneman Douglas School at all times, that he not have any contact with his brother, direct or indirect, that he not go onto any campus of any school or child care facility, and he maintain 500 feet at all times. In addition, he is to have his home in Lake Worth searched for guns, ammunition, and any weapons. He is not to return to Broward County unless it's for a counsel, and he's advised pretrial services or to attend court. The court is going to set his bond at $500,000. Thank you.
Judge, we will object to the amount of bond for the reasons previously stated.
Okay, and one other thing I forgot, I'm sorry. He's to submit to a psychological evaluation, and he's to have no contact with any Marjory Stoneman Douglas campus or any students or teachers or employees of the school. Is there anything else, State? Okay, thank you very much. Court is going to set his bond at $500,000.
Zachary Cruz leaves the Broward jail after 10 days of incarceration. He was caught skateboarding at Marjory Stoneman Douglas High School.
And Zachary Cruz remains in the Broward County Sheriff jail charged with trespassing, but under a $500,000 bond. His lawyers have just now filed a motion asking that bond to be reduced, citing his constitutional rights.
In court, Cruz entered into an agreement with prosecutors, pleading no contest to trespass in exchange for getting out.
The defendant is to be adjudicated guilty of the offense and placed on 6 months of probation.
That agreement comes with a lot of conditions.
He is not to possess or own any firearms, ammunitions, or weapons of any kind during his probation.
He pled no contest to these terms. I want to read the terms of his release to you. I mentioned 6 months probation. Once that expires, even then he's never to return to Marjory Stoneman Douglas High School. In fact, he's not allowed on any school unless he's enrolled. Must wear a GPS monitor going forward. Mental health evaluation within 24 hours of his release. He's not to have any weapons, nor is he to use any drugs or alcohol. He's only 18 years old.
Zachary should have been released last Monday when that $25 bond was posted. His 10-day nightmare is over. His unlawful and unconstitutional confinement is ended. He's going home.
Without saying a word, Zachary Cruz leaves the Broward jail after 10 days of incarceration. He was held on a $500,000 bond for a trespass charge. He was caught skateboarding at Marjory Stoneman Douglas High School.
Zachary Cruz must wear an ankle monitor and undergo a psychological evaluation. A judge also ordered police to search his home in suburban Lantana for any weapons. He also cannot talk with his brother Nikolas anymore.
Court is going to set his bond at $500,000.
Zachary Cruz leaves the Broward jail after 10 days of incarceration. He was caught skateboarding at Marjory Stoneman Douglas High School.
But I have to say that the treatment that he's received from the BSO is recently as last night is nothing short of harassment. And, you know, I think that it's important for anyone listening to this kid to understand that no kid who's gone through a quarter of the trauma that this kid's gone through would have his head put together like Zach does. I mean, this is a young man who embodies compassion, and he's caring, and he likes to skate. He is not a dangerous kid by any stretch of the imagination, and people need to understand that. Like, he's been demonized and incredibly unfairly, and the result has been, you know, harassing treatment from the BSO. These kinds of things are just furtherances of the harassing treatment that he's received from the BSO, and I've seen it myself. And we're going to be asking Judge Brown to ask for an investigation into how the BSO has continued to treat him even after the most recent court date, because this isn't acceptable. Everybody should care about it, because when police believe they can make their own rules, no one wins.
And I had heard the woman that he will be staying with in Virginia, does she kind of she's, I guess, lived through something?
Yeah,
she kind of may understand Zachary's situation a little bit?
That's right. She's my employee, and she runs our charitable bonding program across the country. When she heard of Zachary's case, it spoke to her because her brother was convicted in a mass shooting incident where 12 people were shot. So, you know, the correlations between Zach's brother being in that situation and Tien's brother being in that situation, I think, helps her be a strong mentor to him and helping him understand how to handle some of these issues as he goes through the court system and, you know, the public eye as it relates to his brother.
I want to work on like different topics like bullying and stuff. Like I want to start like a bullying campaign with Mike, and I want kids to be able to like fit in. Like kids who don't fit in, I want them like to feel like, you know, like there's always somebody they can like relate to or try to fit in with, like, so stuff like that.
If you don't mind me asking, what dogs are you picking up? What breed are they?
One of them's a golden retriever mixed with like a pit bull. She's really old. And then there's like a smaller like tan fox terrier mixed with something, I don't know.
Which dog was yours and which dog was
Maisie was mine. She's the golden retriever, and Kobe was my brother's. He's the little fox terrier mix. So.
How long have you guys had them?
We had Maisie since we were little kids. So I'd probably say like she's probably like 15, 16. She's really old.
So childhood dog.
Yeah. And then Kobe is I'd say he's like 5, 6, but he's still young. He still moves like a puppy. So.
Court is going to set his bond at $500,000.
Zachary Cruz leaves the Broward jail after 10 days of incarceration. He was caught skateboarding at Marjory Stoneman Douglas High School.
He spoke in Washington, D.C. today about his new initiative, which he calls WIN, which stands for We Isolate No One. Cruz says the goal of this movement is to help stop violence in schools and end school shootings.
If we don't do something to help those kids build relationships with each other and with adults and find ways to fit in, if we don't train kids to handle these problems when they see them every single day, then we can't be surprised when the next bomb goes off.
Court is going to set his bond at $500,000.
Zachary Cruz leaves the Broward jail after 10 days of incarceration. He was caught skateboarding at Marjory Stoneman Douglas High School.